And let me, before critical theory, one important thinker, his name is Borgman. He also understood that Heidegger's loss of the, along with the Heidegger, he understood diagnosis of the loss of significance accompanying the technological mode of appropriating the world. And of course, he's not carrying with us simply only God, only responsible for what he argues that one. There is a uh, then he tried to say this thing earlier, some kind of tools are there, crafts are there. Now it is the devices are change the society in a systematic way, and along with the one kind of device paradigm it is there, and in place of artifacts and a divide paradigm, it is also changing over the everyday social life or our concerns, and the focal point where it is there is the way, it is the food habit, the many ways. Suppose it is the technology, for example, the today the kind of technology, the where it is the fast food centers, it is where food will get it from outside, and after getting the food, each one will, the family members, they used to take whatever the way they like it. But earlier, that is the situation where the people used to sit together at the, not only cooking together and also sitting together, and also and also they are sharing certain things. It is not only it is the just having the lunch, the eating together, dining together. It is also so many other things also involved and all. Like that, it is also the focal concerns are totally different. He argues this thing, even though you are appropriating technology, there is a need to be the focal concerns are, so we have to take care of the certain focal concerns. The focal concerns embody the civility, decency, and gentleness that pervades in his writing for him. The focal concerns isolates and restricts the technological appropriation of the world. Instead, the values of the world citizenship, knowledge of the world, and intelligence, valor, refinement, and charity acquires specific focal point that I talk about. Our practices have to be changed rather than we are carrying with the technology the way it is suggested. There is a need to come back to our focal point. Of course, some of the people going back to the pre-technological world, some other people try to suggest that one. But it is not exactly same he try to talk about, but it is welcoming the technology, but our focal concerns and practices has to be changed. We should be cautious, like that he argues. But very important breakthrough in a philosophy of technology came from it is a Frankfurt School theory. The Frankfurt School thinkers, they constantly engage with the technology-driven capitalist society, and enrich the theory of the philosophy of technology by arguing in favor of the democratization of the technology. There is a need to be. They are also welcoming the technology. They are also for the progress. But at the same time, they argue there is a need to be democratization of technology. Technology cannot be lead to technocracy. Technology, or we can say they are not adopting the scienticism. Science become an ideology. Everything, the human society is also organized in that level. Science become an ideology. They are against the science, against the scienticism, or they are against the instrumental rationality. The rationality used for the progress of development and all, in that process, how it become a states become a authoritarian and totalitarian and dictatorial level, it has taken shape. And they are opposing that one. Technology has to be any kind, not only technology, philosophy has to be understood historically and also from the social, instead of instrumentality, there is a need to be understand from the social criticism. And not only explaining the world, interpreting the world, the function of the philosophy, they try to see it as one kind of empowerment. The liberation, it is also very much important. Liberation, empowerment is also very much important. Of course, critical theory of technology holds that human beings need not await a God to change the technological society into a better place to live. The problem is not with the technology as such, but with our failure so far as to devise appropriate institutions for exercising human control over it. There is institutions are important, practices are important, If you give whatever the technology, it will be there to tell that the same kind of character the society where we are living. That level, they argued in a different level that not only welcoming the technology, they are arguing for the democratization of the technology, and there it is argued that thing the where in the age of the technological reproducibility, the once all powerful human being seems to be condemned to absolute insignificance. Technology has not brought about liberation, but instead new form of the slavery, which cast all forms of slavery throughout the history in the shade. That's what we also, rather than celebrating the technology, they understood that it is brings one kind of the slavery, one kind technology brings one kind of domination, one kind of slavery. People, society has undergone. Then in the dialectic of enlightenment, that is the earlier thinkers of the critical theory, the Max Horkheimer and Adorno, and they said this thing, the critique of technology as such characterized the Frankfurt School and especially its leaders, Adorno and Horkheimer. In the dialectic of enlightenment, they argue that instrumentality itself is a form of domination. The controlling objects violates their integrity, suppress and destroys them. If this is so, then technology is not a value neutral. They came to the point that thing. We thought that science is not a universal value. When come to technology, technology also we used to say this thing, it is a value neutral. It is not a value neutral. It also has own value, own kind of the valuation. It is there. Its own kind of politics is involved. That's why the myth of the value neutral, they break the myth of the value neutrality of the technology. The technology also has its own kind of value. It is their own kind of that level. They try to look at the technology. That is the ground is created for the critical theory. But later, the important thing is, as I told, it is Herbert Marcuse is also student of Heidegger. He has a very popular book he has written in 1964, that is the One-Dimensional Man. Then he also argues that technology leads to new form of domination in industrial society. Marcuse is describing how tendencies towards technological rationality were producing the system of totalitarian social control and domination. The development of modern industry and technological rationality, however, undermine the basis of the individual rationality. The technological rationality undermine the individual rationality, individual freedom, and as a capitalism and technology developed, advanced industrial society demands increasing accommodation to the economical and social apparatus and submission to increasing domination and administration. Hence, mechanics of the conformity spread throughout the society. It is one kind of conformity to the system. It is also going in tune with the kind of the economic and social operators were working out in order to making the people to be subordination. One kind of administrative societies evolved, one kind of technocratic societies got evolved. In a technocratic society, specialists came to the forefront and instrumental rationality plays important role. For the progress of the development, it is required as economic level, it is important like that they make us to believe, and that level they won't allow the people to question any kind of situation. That level, it is people not only lost their own rationality to this instrumental rationality, technological societies. There's no critical rationalities involved here and all, like such as the autonomy, dissent, the power of negation. It is not there. It is all together. It is a one-dimensional society or one-dimensional man. It is there and all. Everything it is there. There is nothing like that differentiation and all. The only way you have to be the administrative society, technocratic society, and technological rationality played important role by negating the all kinds, any other kinds of alternative rationalities exist in a society and all. The Marcuse view that powers of the reason and freedom are declining in late industrial society. With the increasing concentration and effectiveness of economic, political, and cultural controls, the opposition in all these fields had been pacified, coordinated, and liquidated. Indeed, reason has become an instrument of domination, and it helps to organize, administer, anticipate the power that be, and to liquidate the power of the negativity, any kind of dissent it is there. Ultimately, what he argues, he is not against the technology. He welcomes the technology. But at the same time, what he argues this thing, he favors the view that restoration of the harmony of the man and nature through the new science and technology. Yes, he make one more point. He is also Marxist. He is also give the way for the new left kind of thinking. And what he argues the thing, this kind of situation, how it is possible? It is only required through the abolition of the class society. What he argues that if you give whatever the technology it is there and all, if it is the technology, it is our powerful and beneficent society, and it is a good for the society, or it may have many the good points might be there, but what he argues that thing, if the technology given in a society, suppose you are given the technology, the capitalist society, it will take the capitalist character. If you take the casteist society, you take the casteist character. If you take the patriarchal society, it is the patriarchal character. You know it very well, the way the kind of instruments it is there, technological devices are there, even though we thought that it is liberate the people, the kind of thing, but it has, we thought that the patriarchy, the problem of the women will be resolved with this thing, with the kind of the washing machine and all. But it, you know it very well, it is further become a burden for the people, again in the name of the dowry, they have to be. They different level, the technology rather than the liberate, it will take the the science and technology can liberate. It is know how it is the information society, which may be technological society, may be critical about the religious view or medieval world views like that, but you know it very well, technology much before the other people appropriate by the religious kind of, or you know it very well, kind of the kind of knowledge, traditional knowledge, immediately they try to make it available through the information society, through the different kind of website, you know it very well. The point here I would like to make that one, that is, without changing the society, it is not possible. That is, he argues that one, he is neither hostile nor indifferent to technology, but call for the radical reconstruction. The Herbert Marcuse remarks that in a liberated society, certain lost qualities of artisan work may well reappear on a new technological base. They may reappear for the new technological base. That is one kind of the new aesthetic kind of way of mode of life. This is a possibility, and also welcoming technology. There is other alternative kind of technology, and also this need to be democratization of technology. For this, he argues that there is a need to be change the society. Along with the changing society, the changes will technology also taking place. It is not the other way. Just bring the technology, we won't expect that thing, society will be automatically. But one has to use that kind of social context is important. The willingness of the people is important to make the situation. Along with the change of the society, technology also will change its character, and all. That's what he argues. However, and other thinker of the Frankfurt School, Habermas, you might have known for his communicative theory, he is critical about he is argued that the project of the modernity is incomplete. However, technology is encroaching in our everyday life, the state is encroaching in our private life. He says that he is critical about it is one kind of the myth. The romantic idea is, Herbert Marcuse has the romantic idea of restoration of between the nature and science. He tried to argue nature and man, technology. He tried to argue that one. Then he argues that for Habermas, technology will always be a non-social, objectivating relation to the nature, oriented towards success and control. Habermas concludes that the problem of capitalist modernity are due to the obstacles it places in the way of rationalization in a moral, practical sphere. there's obstacles, sir. There's the obstacle for the communication. It is there. It has to be resolved. Such level he tried to talk about. He is in favor of the modernity. At the same time, he finds the problems involved in the taking the processing of the modernity. He tried to identify that one. Then let me come to the whole debates may be summed up by the important thinker is a student of the Herbert Marcuse. His name is that Andrew Feinberg. Andrew Feinberg is also important thinker in the critical theory of technology, and his consolidated debates in the questioning the technology and democratizing the technology. He strongly argued for the democratization of technology. He continued the debate of the Herbert Marcuse. He said that it is the technological power is a principle of form of power in a society. The technological society requires the democratic public sphere sensitive to the technical affairs. He argues that thing there is a democratic society is very much is required for to appreciation of the technology. He tried to argue that one. Then the democratization must involve changes not only in technological design and also distribution of the power between the lay and experts, objects and subjects, objects and subjects of technical action. He proposed for the possibility of the alternative rationalization. Earlier we believed that thing technological rationalization or technological determination we have seen. Nobody can change it like. But what it is, whatever design you have to carry forward like that people believe. But what the Andrew Feinberg argues that it is other alternative rationalities are possible. It is not only market driven kind of the traditional rationality or state kind of extension of the state logic, and it is also there is a possibility of the changing the technology, even the insights in the time of designing and also thinking, understanding is also possible with the people's involvement. And that way he argues that one there is a alternative rational technology, as I told it is a rationalization process, and he tried to look for the alternative rationalization possible. How it is possible? It is possible through the struggles of the people, not only aware of themselves, understanding of themselves, understand the society, they critically evaluate in the technology, and in democratized technology how it is possible, it is through the struggles of the people, ecological struggles and all. This create the ground for the people, either technocrats or it is the scientists, they have to be compelled to be reflect on the situation that makes the some kind of change. The other alternative rationalization is possible, he argues that one. That way Feinberg rejects the both neutralistic position, which see technology as a mere instrument of human practice, amenable to any and all projects and uses, the determinist notion which sees it as an instrument of domination in the hands of the ruling elites, whose very construction determines the uses, limits and application of technology. Instead, he sees technology as a contested field where individual and social groups can struggle to influence and change technological design, such the very construction of technology is subject to be democratic debate and contestation. That's what he argues for the importance of the technology and all. However, the critical theory technologies are not seen as a tools but a frameworks of ways of life. The choices open to us situated in a higher level than the instrumental level. What we do not have to wait for the God to save us, as Heidegger says, but an hope to save ourselves through the democratic intervention in the technology. There is a possibility to intervene, and it is the people's struggles, culture, their intervention may compel to be change the situation. That's what it is. Herbert Marcuse, the Andrew Feinberg try to argue that one. Then, however, then the situation comes to this is mostly debate related to the from late 60s onwards to the 70s and 80s. This kind of debate one can see in the critical theory. It is that they take in the issue of the technology very particularly, or technological society, or modern industrial society, or capitalist society in a different level. But you know it very well, on late 80s onwards, society has significantly changed. One way, information and communication technology, ICT, you know the kind of changes took place brought by the information technology. And the other level, in a biology, the people identified the not only gene, it is the only DNA. They went to the identifying the properties of inheritance, traits of inheritance, identify the gene, and later they start only genome project, you know it very well. And then they started is the genetically modified food and also cloning and all. Then lot of changes taking place in terms of the the reproductive capacity and the functioning the biotechnology it has happened and all. The interesting point is that the biology and information is also going together. Ultimately, it is have the different kind of effect and all. The way bioinformatics, they are identifying the genes responsible for this thing, later identifying, then at different level combinations they try to work out. Ultimately, it leads to what level, you know it very, we can't predict it, what way it is societies goes and it is leading. One way we can have the advantage of in terms of the productivity, the way with the genetic developments in genetic engineering, but at the same time it is also a different kind of implications are there. Along with this one more aspect it is there. The people try to earlier understood as a matter as an important particle, important thing can be understood, the society can be understood in terms of the particles and the matter, and the matter also earlier we thought it is atom, and further it is going to the level atom is indivisible particle like that we believe, but further there is the nano level minus 10 to the power of minus 9. Such level also they try to identify it, and certain nanoparticle they identify properties of that one. Now it has now nano goods and nano, it is also totally changed the kind of the situation in the society where even biotech, information communication technology, biotechnology and nanotechnology are mutually working out together. The physics and biology and also information science together adding, and it is alternative kind of realities try to producing and in front of us they become a challenging point, and also even questioning our existence of the very human beings. Of course, human effort is there involved in this kind of technology, but at the same time, the some effect of this kind of technology, it is also challenging the very existence of this thing. Then we have to see how the earlier theories may be, what way one can be look at the kind of extend this one. Totally it is become a silent, what to do we don't know, how to, it is the same kind of theories not be expected, the way it is earlier kind of thing, it is only we are concerned about the market and goods and such kind of mostly economic level kind of exploitation we have seen. But today it is not only business, not only economic level information technology, it is also as a function, not only economic function, it is also political function. You know, the technology, the kind of information society, information goods, and it is internet and services, it is one kind of business, it is, you know it very well. But at the same time, it is through this one, it is also manipulation of the information, it is there and all. Controlling the human beings there and all. The information flows through the computers, information flows through the internet, and all these things, it is also, if it is not allow the people to think on their own, and in fact it is taking us to the fantasy world, and that level, you know it very well, how the mobile phone is controlling everything else. We thought that we are controlling the mobile phone, but it is know it very well. It is already, it is a pre-designed everything. What, even though it is not required for you, it is prompt you what to do, what not to do and all. Even though don't believe in certain kind of things, you also tempted to do the certain things and all. You don't believe in the Vastu, or you won't believe in the astrology, and also you want to see the thing, what happens today and all. This also making us slowly submissive to that one. It is not only this one, is controlling that one. We thought that is everything is available, every information about the world is available in the internet and Google search we can find out like that. That is a myth. Whatever it is programmed, that information only is available. much and much more, and the information is there, less and lesser social meaning it is there. And that way it is also what is required, it is whatever the business can be deal with, everything is business for them, and it is ultimately we somewhere we lost. On other level, it is, we know the marginal digital divide and kind of marginalization and exclusion of the people. It is in the existing kind of the social inequalities, now in a different kind of inequalities also we can find. It totally requires the new way of understanding of the society. That's what I believe, that one. And there, manual, casual, and it is of course the many people argues that yes, now it is required some kind of professional ethics is important. Very often people used to advocate professional ethics, and the way computer scientists have some kind of ethics, or it is doctors. These are doctors should have this kind of ethics. Like that, people try to talk about the professional ethics, but if you look at closely, the professional ethic doesn't solve the problems. The problem is beyond the professional ethics, beyond the professionals. The problem is that it is not mostly the professional ethics or ethics of the either information technology, or it is the biotechnology or nanotechnology. They're mostly, when you're talking about ethics, it never goes beyond the liberal framework. Liberal framework, it is, of course, it is the market oriented and also small changes they want, but the cosmetic changes they want to bring into our attention, but not the kind of the rapid changes taking place, the kind of social inequality taking place, the where the system itself is responsible, the technological society is technology itself responsible. And you know it very well, hardly the few computers, we believe that thing, it is a vast information, it is there. But if you look at closely, hardly it is a handful of the software industries control all our information and all our information, whatever it is there. That's why the people like it is a Manuel Casual and Herbert Schiller that I talk about, one has to look at this problem beyond the liberal framework, beyond the ethical framework. That means one has to question the system itself, that is the economic system itself, is the capitalist system. That's what they identified it as one kind of the informational capitalism. The Manuel Casual and Herbert Schiller, they try to talk about this is one kind of information capitalism, and is a network society is a new variant of capitalism. And he said that we are actually in a period of information capitalism. He coins the term informationalism to read the information society mediated by the globalization. Then the Manuel Casual argues that information has never been a technological matter. It has always been a matter of the social transformation, a process of social change in which technology has an element that is inseparable from social, economic, cultural, and political trends. Casual claims to take the holistic approach of the dialectical interaction between the technology development and global capitalism. Then Herbert Schiller came to observe that there is a dialectical relation between capitalism and information, whereby one serves the other by promoting and assisting the growth of the other. That's what it is. One has to be totally, it is not only this one, it is the new challenge, it is there and all. Exactly, without addressing the core problem where it is lies, that superficially touching the problem, it is no way helps. And however, there is a problem, it is there. Conceptual clarity is not there. Even today, to make the policies of the government, the cyber laws goes on changing, they don't know what to do. The problem is that there is no clear-cut understanding about the situation. There is no conceptual clarity is not there. Because of the conceptual clarity is not there, there is a policy vacuum, it is there. That's what James Moore is a computer scientist and also the important thinker. He tried to, the policy vacuum, it is there. To make the policy vacuum, you have to understand that one. You have the conceptual understanding. That is exactly lacking and all. That is a real challenge to understand the society where we are living and all. Then let me come to the other point. That one, of course, it requires the new kind of understanding, interdisciplinary kind of approach, philosophy of technology that is a much more comprehensive, critical, ethical, approach, internalizing the social, economical, ethical, and political concerns. It has to be internalized, not specifically one element. It is not possible. You have to take in from the history, we have to take in from the sociology, we have to take in from the economics, and different. You have internalizing this one, and you develop one kind of comprehensive theory that is very much important. Let me come to my concluding point, what I would like to say. Again, I'll come to the point where the man who talks about the fourth revolution, that's what is Marx Wartowski. He said that thing, it is today the fourth revolution introducing the terrifying option. It makes technological or maker's truth hostage to the political power in a decision procedure that tests policy against the lives of the millions, against the planet's future. Now, the policy decision is not itself is a truth claim. It typically proposes that something be done to achieve certain end, but it is based on truth claims on a presumptive knowledge of the facts and matter. It is itself they claim it as a truth, but one has to look at based on the facts of the society and the knowledge, and one has to take into the consideration to develop the alternative truth, whatever it is. There is a danger of this kind of situation. Today the technological society, most of the time we don't know what is happening and all. There may be nexus between the scientist or market, and also the state might be there. They may try to provide their own interest, they come with their own interest. Most of the things, it is the kind of research, we thought that some serious research is going on about the future of human society. There's nothing like that serious research. Any kind of research, they like to look for some kind of market and the other things also, where it is some kind of profit is there, that kind of research is only going on. That only it is people are concerned, the kind of the companies, multinational companies, transnational companies. And that level, most of the time we don't know what kind of research is going on. Today the kind of money most of the time is the bioweapons and nuclear weapons, and the way technology playing a crucial role is taken place by using the technology. It is killing is warfare, killing is quite common. But today it is totally changed. The killing also, it is some kind of cruelly vicarious pleasure out of, we want to get it out of it by producing the kind of the biological weapons, by producing the deadly kind of diseases. It is there. You know it very well. America used NAFA bombs against the Vietnam. And today it is totally changed. You know it very well. The biological weapons, it is a serious threat for the humanity. The kind of the inhuman act we are going to practice. We don't know. Most of the research labs, what is going on, we don't know. We don't know the health hazards, the implicated health hazards. We don't know. People are not educated, not informed. Simply they are carrying. They will become a testing zone for any kind of technology, any kind of, very well, the pharmaceutical companies or any kind of technological approach, new thing it is there, without seeing the efficacy of that one, and it's the risks involved in that one. It is not informed. Simply they are carrying. You know it very well. We are not knowing about the total implication of that one. That's why dangers of the uninformed, underinformed, misinformed policy decisions on issues of this scale and scope are so great that truth or the best available version of it are requisite for the decision on the rational control of the technology. There is a rational control is important. The power over technology in the hands of those who are afraid of truth is the most dangerous power on the earth. The imperative of democracy and of technological scientific literacy seems to me be the most promising antidote to such power. That's what it is. He tried to say that one. There is which can be questioned, that kind of technology, kind of rational way of understanding, and also democratization of this thing. It is there where people can use their choice. That kind of, it is a public kind of scrutiny is required for the whatever the time. Not only we should have the knowledge about that one, It's mostly technical expert, they become a knowledge people, they will come forward. We have to listen for them. We thought the technical people is important, but ultimately decision is taken by the political decision will be there. Their interest will be there. As I told, the kind of the militarization and the kind of totalitarian kind of regimes, how it is carried, and the way technology, how they use, and it is totally controlling and one kind of surveillance kind of society where it is living and all. Then they will come to the point what it is. Jacques Ellul again he says that thing, today technique become a form of the paradigm for all action furnished to any organization or process, both its ontology and its underlying logic. Thus, as we have seen, the political expression of order in society has practically ceased as the primary organizing force. For the technical order requires the subordination of social and political power, whose practicality in any case appears less and less evident. If technique is the true force of things, then we will surely witness the end of history. That's what he is cautioned, as he also quoted the Cornel Castoriadis has pointed out, technique in its full development is a closing, whereas a true democracy has endless opening. Thus, in the choice before us, democratic option is not a sentimental, ideological or moral. It is not just one among many other alternatives. In reality, there can be no other alternative to the man. It is without that, it is still you are believing like age-old man, sentimental like that, you will be becoming like that. Still you are arguing for the struggles, but there is no other way other than we have to fight. That power will move steadily toward technocrats, the two aristocrats of our society. From there on, the alternative is clear, either technique or democracy. We have to decide ourselves, either technique or we have to carry with the technique or democracy. In the absence of, but one thing is sure, that in the absence of democracy, will any person still have the possibility of being human? Thank you. I am stopping here.